Hey folks, welcome. Been a long hiatus, but we're back talking about the World Cup. I have two of my partners in crime here. Ram, hello. Bharat, hi, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
Good. World Cup fever has caught all of us. It's been amazing. What was supposed to be high-scoring games have thus far been not that bowler-friendly. So I want to talk about, first thing I want to talk about is getting right into South Africa. So it's been one of those World Cups where we, again, expected a lot from them. It didn't go that way. Where do they go from here? Let's start with Bharat.
I think they're a talented team, but they're really struggling in terms of form. And so I really see that this could have been completely a different story if some of the batsmen had got into form. So the last game, at least, it looked like they were, what they was expected, they delivered. So I think Amla, De Kock, De Villiers, no De Villiers, but
Walia De Villiers, they chose as a country, as an association, to not go with him. Ram, a drastic or right thing to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. Once he hung up his boots, he hung up his boots. And so there's a bunch of things that happened after that. So it's not fair to overturn, a rule just for him. And that also would show desperation and lack of faith in the others, right? So I think they did the right thing. I mean, I agree with Bharat. I don't think they need to push the panic button. They're a very talented team. I do think, there's question marks around Amla. He's had very, very poor scores. Maybe had one good score in a no pressure situation. I also think that the sequence was a bit rough. They faced some of the better teams up front. Had they faced, Afghanistan, and Sri Lanka up front, maybe they would have gained confidence from that. And, who knows what the counterfactual could have been.
Great point. To me, there was no doubt about their bowling, right? They came in with an awesome attack. They've got Ngidi, obviously Rabada is world class now. And then last game, I don't know why they didn't play Pretorius before. He obviously showed that he had good form. But reality is they just don't have the batting. I mean, they just, nobody clicked. David Miller was a huge disappointment. Van der Dusen, lot expected of him. A little bit early in world cricket. He's got a lot of domestic experience, but I'm sorry, it just wasn't good enough.
I want to ask you if the quality of pitches made a difference. So were more bouncy, faster tracks, they would have been a different story?
Look, you're opening the can of worms. I'm going to get to England later, right? I mean, this was supposed to be the landscape of how the pitches have been in this World Cup has drastically different from all of us expected, right? So, this is not AA baseball, cricket. This is real international stuff. Suck it up, get it done, right? I mean, to me, it's excuses we're always going to find.
I think a little bit of the selections wrong as well. Against India, for instance, they went with Tahir and Shamsi, right? I mean, 20 overs, zilch for 112. We know that India plays these guys well, and they could have, gotten Pretorius and any of the other guys. It seemed a bit.
All right, boys, 3 minutes is up. We got to move on to the next topic, make this quick. So let's move to England. Came into the World Cups, everybody's thinking they're going to score 500 every game. They're just going to blow away the oppositions. Obviously, it hasn't worked out that way. Started off pretty strong, and their fade has been phenomenal. It's disappointing, one, but to me, what's more disappointing is they're just, the comments to the media, Bairstow just crying like a little baby, and collectively, Morgan agreeing that they are just not suited to these conditions. What went wrong? Ram, let's start there. I mean, this is a batting lineup that's supposed to score umpteen runs every game. Clearly didn't happen.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I think, partly they're a victim of their own success, perhaps. They've gotten used to putting up these big scores, and they've kind of believed that irrespective of the conditions and the quality of the opposition, they can still go for it. And that's not the case in big tournaments. And if you look at all their losses, they've basically come chasing, right? And when you're chasing, you really need to sort of figure out where they're going to be in the next 5 overs and 10 overs, 15 overs, as opposed to just going all guns. So I do think that that's one of the big reasons. There's a lot of mental games going on with them.
Absolutely, and Bharat, I'll go to you. They're saying that they don't have Jason Roy, who is just stable for them up front, scores quick runs, sort of bit like what Dhawan does for India. Is that just a one person, or is it just collectively they're just not playing well?
I think collectively, I think they're, like Ram said, a victim of their own hype. You need a few accumulators, a few more people molded in the way Joe Root's been playing to get them there. So I think that's been what's lacking. In contrast, India has done exactly that. Accumulated runs, dramatically changed their game plan on the basis of how the pitch is playing, and being flexible about it. So I think that's what they've lacked.
What about saying, the whole media is against us, we're losing because people don't want us to win? What's going on there?
It's funny, the teams that are doing badly are the ones like making these excuses, right? Like South Africa started this run of excuse even earlier, as did I think they have a solid chance. They should just go for it.
Yep. I think that that it's Bairstow, and I think maybe he feels the pressure because in the absence of Roy, there's a greater burden of expectations on him to deliver, and he just hasn't. So he's maybe just reacting to that.
So this segues perfectly into the sort of where does England go tomorrow with this? I will get to India in 30 seconds. One of you pick it up. Tell me, where does England go from here tomorrow?
So I mean, they have an uphill task. Their best chance tomorrow is, winning the toss and batting first. Because if India are going to bat first, I don't see India completely crumble. I see them put at least 260, 270 on the board, and I don't think England will be able to chase that, given the pressure that they have right now, where basically each game is kind of a knockout situation, and with all the mental games and all the stuff that's happening.
And I agree. I think it's best for them to play a team like India, the best. So there's actually less pressure in the way.
All right, that's our 3 minutes, gents. That segues into the other team that's playing tomorrow. That is India. Obviously unbeaten so far. Tournament has gone really well. Indian fans are cautiously optimistic. At least I am for once. And the cautiously optimistic pretty much mainly because, going into the World Cup, we knew it was the middle order that was going to be shaky. But did we realize that it was going to be that shaky?
I don't know. I disagree. They've done quite well. They've been managed to put up totals, and in retrospect, after the other team has played, those have been really strong totals. So, Kedar Jadhav stepped up in one game. Dhoni did in another game. Hardik Pandya has been consistent. So I would say there was expectation that they'll fall apart. They haven't been at their best or what they could be, but I won't say they've handled the conditions and the game where the situations were pretty well.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think it's more a case of lost opportunity for folks like Shankar, to some extent, Rahul, etc. But I think Rahul's been okay since he's been promoted. So I think mainly sort of Vijay Shankar, but I think they should persist with him. I would be, the top three have collectively not failed in any of the games. So if that happens, then we will see the pressure on the middle order. I don't think that's going to happen. They're playing very carefully, but if that happens, it might be tough.
I think there's also a little sign of the changes, right? Like Shikhar Dhawan, Rahul was lining up to be perfect number 4, but They had to make that change and bring him in. So, given all that, I think they've done okay.
You guys are painting a better picture than I would. I'm just mighty disappointed with how MS Dhoni's lack of just approach in general. We've seen it time and time again where in T20 games or 50 over games where we're chasing and he wants to take the game to the last over. All that's fine and dandy, but I mean if you're trying to set a target, you've got to show some sense of urgency. I'm not saying go all belligerent, But someone with his experience, with how well he runs between the wickets, I'm just shocked at the amount of dot balls he plays. It's unacceptable. Let's be honest. He comes in at 5, and they were screaming at let's have him at number 4. It's not going to work. And to Ram's point earlier, if we lose, if India loses 3-4 early wickets, and Dhoni gets 60 runs of 100 balls, I'm looking at a chase of 220 rather than a 240, 250, and we've seen in this World Cup, chasing 250 is not easy right now. Right, so all that's fine and dandy. Shankar's got an absolute jaffer last game. He was looking great. I question where India is batting Pandya right now. I would like to see him at 4. I'd like to see a little bit more impetus there at 4. Maybe have Shankar come in a little bit later. But at 5, where Dhoni is just not rotating strike, is where India is really struggling.
I agree. I think Hardik Pandya can come earlier, and Dhoni can be held back. And maybe switch around if you're chasing.
That's the time, boys. So to end, I want your predictions for tomorrow. Let's start with Ram. Where's this game going tomorrow?
I think India are going to win comfortably.
Bharat, why? If and who's going to win and why?
England. I mean, the back's against the wall, and they're playing the best team. I think they'll come firing.
I'll break the tiebreaker here. I'll go with India. I think India's just, overall unit-wise, India's way better. That bowling is, can chase low totals, as we've seen 2 games in a row. Granted, one of them was against Afghanistan. But, backs against the wall, and we've seen how that mindset is just not there. And there's all the chat with the media. I just don't think England are in a good place head-wise. India's going to take this one. Great chat, boys, as always. Let's do this again soon. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.